I used to think I had it all figured out. The sun would rise over our little suburban house, its rays slipping through the blinds, painting golden streaks across the hardwood floor, and I'd smile, genuinely smile, because life felt complete. My wife, Elena, was the kind of woman who could light up a room with a single laugh. Her eyes sparkled like the ocean on a summer day, and her voice? It was soft, soothing, a melody I'd wake up to every morning as she hummed while brewing coffee. We'd been married 7 years, built a home together, planted a garden out back where tomatoes grew fat and red under her careful hands. I was a graphic designer, steady job, good pay, and she worked at a marketing firm downtown, a rising star, they called her. We were the couple everyone envied. Picture perfect. Untouchable. But perfection, it's a fragile thing, isn't it? A glass sculpture waiting for the tiniest crack to spider web out of control. That morning, God, I'll never forget it. The air felt different. Heavy. I woke up to silence. No humming. No clatter of the coffee pot. Just nothing. Elena was already gone, left a note on the counter. Early meeting. Love you. Simple, sweet, normal. I shrugged it off, poured my own coffee, and went about my day, blissfully ignorant. If I'd known then what I know now, I'd have chased after her, demanded answers, stopped the train wreck before it derailed my entire world. It started with a text. Not from her. No, she was too busy for that. But from a coworker of hers I barely knew. Dave. Awkward, balding Dave, who'd once spilled wine on me at a company picnic and apologized a dozen times. His message was short, cryptic. Hey man, you okay? Saw something weird today. My stomach twisted. I typed back. What do you mean? No reply. Hours passed. Nothing. I tried calling Elena straight to voicemail. Her voice, that same melodic tone, chirped through the recording. Leave a message. I didn't. Something gnawed at me, a quiet dread I couldn't shake. By evening, she still wasn't home. 7 p.m. turned to 9, then 11. I paced the living room, the dog, our scruffy mutt, Boomer, whining at my heels. Finally, headlights swept across the windows. She walked in, all smiles, heels clicking on the floor. Sorry, babe, she said, tossing her bag on the couch. Work ran late, big project with the boss. Her boss. Victor. Slick, charming Victor with his tailored suits and predatory grin. I nodded, forced a smile, but that gnawing? It grew teeth. Sleep didn't come that night. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, Elena's steady breathing beside me a cruel mockery of peace. Her excuse echoed in my head, big project with the boss, and every time I replayed it, Victor's face flashed behind my eyes. I'd met him a handful of times. Cocky, too smooth, the kind of guy who'd clap you on the back a little too hard and call it friendly. I'd never liked him, but Elena? She'd gush about his vision, his leadership. I'd tease her about it, and she'd laugh, swat my arm, say, "Oh, stop it, he's just good at his job." Now, that laugh felt like a knife twisting in my gut. Morning came, gray and cold. She was up early again, slipping out before I could ask anything. Another note. More meetings. See you tonight. I crumpled it in my fist. That's when Dave texted again. Meet me at the diner on 5th, noon. You need to know. My heart thudded, loud, erratic, like a drum roll to some awful reveal. I didn't want to go. I wanted to bury my head in work, pretend everything was fine. But I couldn't. I grabbed my keys, told Boomer I'd be back, and drove. The diner smelled of grease and burnt coffee. Dave sat in a corner booth, hunched over a mug, looking like he hadn't slept either. Hey, I said, sliding in across from him. He didn't look up, just pushed his phone across the table. Look at this, he muttered. I picked it up, hands trembling. A photo loaded, blurry, taken from a distance through an office window. Elena. Victor. Too close. Her hand on his arm, his head tilted toward her, smirking. My stomach dropped. When? I croaked. Yesterday, Dave said. After hours. I was grabbing files and saw them. Thought you should know. I wanted to scream, to hurl the phone across the room, but I just sat there, numb. Thanks, I managed, shoving it back at him. He nodded, eyes pitying. Pitying? That stung worse than the photo. I stumbled out of the diner, air thick in my lungs. I drove home in a daze, and then I saw it. Her car, parked in our driveway. Midday. She was supposed to be at work. My key shook in the lock as I opened the door, and there she was on the couch, on the phone, laughing. She froze when she saw me. Gotta go, she said quickly, hanging up. You're home early, she chirped, too bright, too fake. I stared at her, the woman I loved, and felt the first spark of something dark ignite inside me. "Who was that?" I asked, my voice low, steady, though inside I was a storm raging, churning. Elena blinked, her smile faltering for a split second before she recovered. "Oh, just a coworker," she said, standing, smoothing her skirt like nothing was wrong. "We're finalizing some details for tomorrow's presentation." She moved toward the kitchen, casual, breezy, but I saw it. The way her hand twitched, the slight tremor in her fingers. She was lying. I knew it as surely as I knew my own name. I followed her, heart pounding. "You're home early," I said, mirroring her earlier words. "Thought you had meetings all day." She froze mid-step, then turned, her laugh sharp, forced. "They canceled one. Figured I'd come home, surprise you." Surprise me. Right. I wanted to believe her. God, I did. But Dave's photo burned in my mind, and that spark of darkness flared brighter. "That's funny," I said, stepping closer. "Dave saw you yesterday. With Victor. After hours." Her face changed then, pale, wide-eyed, caught. "Dave's mistaken," she stammered. "It was just work." The doorbell cut her off. We both jumped, the sound slicing through the tension like a blade. She darted to answer it, relief flooding her posture, but I stayed rooted, fists clenched. I heard her voice, bright again, greeting someone. Then a man's voice, deep, familiar. "Victor." My blood turned to ice. I stepped into the hall, and there he was, in my doorway, holding a stack of folders, grinning like he owned the place. "Hey, buddy," he called, spotting me. "Elena forgot these at the office. Thought I'd drop them off." His tone was too easy, too slick, and Elena stood beside him, nodding, smiling, playing along. I could have exploded, yelled, demanded answers, but something colder took over. "Thanks," I said, flat, taking the folders. Our eyes locked, his smug, mine burning. He left, waving, and Elena shut the door, babbling about deadlines. I didn't listen. I walked upstairs, locked myself in my office, and opened my laptop. Her phone synced to it. Texts, calls, everything. I'd never snooped before, never had to. But now I needed proof. And there it was, buried in a thread with V. "Missed you last night. Tomorrow?" Her reply, "Can't wait." The room spun. My wife, my Elena, was gone, replaced by this stranger. And then, a ping. Another text, from an unknown number. "Check your mailbox. You deserve the truth." I bolted downstairs, past Elena's confused, "Where are you going?" and yanked open the mailbox. Inside, a USB drive. No note. Just that. The USB drive sat in my palm, small, black, unassuming, like a pebble that could start an avalanche. My hands shook as I turned it over, the cold plastic biting into my skin. Elena's voice drifted from inside. "Honey, what's out there?" But it was distant, muffled, like she was calling from another world. I didn't answer. I couldn't. My legs moved on their own, carrying me back upstairs to my office, the door slamming shut behind me with a thud that echoed in my chest. I locked it, click, and sat at my desk, the room dim, the only light the faint glow of my laptop screen as it hummed to life. I plugged in the drive. A single folder popped up. "For you." No hesitation, I clicked. Inside, a video file, timestamped 2 days ago. My cursor hovered over it, my breath shallow, ragged. What was this? Who sent it? The unknown number burned in my mind. "You deserve the truth." And I hit play, steeling myself for whatever came next. The screen flickered, then steadied. A grainy image, an office, familiar. It was Elena's workplace, the sleek glass walls of the marketing firm's top floor. The camera was angled oddly, like it was hidden, maybe in a bag or a shelf. Then, movement. Elena stepped into frame, her hair swept back, her laugh ringing out. God, that laugh, the one I'd fallen for years ago. She wasn't alone. Victor followed, shutting the door behind him, his posture relaxed, proprietary. My stomach lurched. They didn't speak at first, just stood there, too close, her hand brushing his arm, his head dipping toward her. No sound, just visuals, but it was enough. Too much. Then it happened. He leaned in, and she didn't pull away. My chest tightened, a vice squeezing my lungs. I wanted to look away, to smash the screen, but I was frozen, eyes locked on the betrayal unfolding in pixelated silence. It wasn't just a moment. It lingered, deliberate, practiced. The video cut off abruptly. leaving me staring at a black screen, my reflection staring back. Hollow, shattered. I sat there, numb, for what felt like hours, minutes maybe, until a notification snapped me out of it. Another text from the unknown number. There's more. Look closer. More? I fumbled with the drive, checking the folder again. A second file, buried deeper, labeled audio_01. I clicked, hands trembling, and Elena's voice filled the room through my speakers. Bright, teasing. You're terrible, she said, giggling. Victor's reply, low, smug. You love it. A pause, then her. We need to be careful. He's not stupid. My blood ran cold. Me. They were talking about me. The audio crackled, then cut to another clip. Victor, he'll never know. Too busy with his little drawings. Laughter. Hers. His. Mocking me. My fist clenched, nails digging into my palms until I felt the sting of blood. The file ended, and silence swallowed the room again. I ripped the drive out, hurling it across the desk. It skittered, hit the wall, landed with a pathetic clank. My vision blurred, tears, rage. I couldn't tell, and then I heard her. Knocking. Babe? You okay in there? Her voice, so sweet, so fake, pierced me like a blade. I didn't respond. Couldn't. My mind raced. How long? How deep? Who sent this? I grabbed my phone, texted the unknown number. Who are you? No reply. I stood, pacing, the room shrinking around me. I needed air, space, something, but then I stopped. The video. The audio. Proof. Cold, hard, undeniable. And with it, that dark spark inside me roared into a flame. Revenge. Not just hurt, not just anger, but a calculated, cruel need to make them pay. I unlocked the door, stepped out. Elena was in the hall, frowning, concern painted on her face like a mask. You look awful, she said, reaching for me. I flinched, stepped back. Her eyes widened, surprise, then a flicker of fear. What's wrong? She asked. I forced a smile, thin, brittle. Nothing. Just work stress. She nodded, hesitant, but bought it. For now. That night, I didn't sleep. I planned. The USB sat on my desk, a ticking bomb. I copied the files, backed them up, cloud, external drive, everywhere. Evidence. Leverage. Morning came, and Elena left again, another early day. Her cheerfulness a dagger. I waited until her car disappeared, then got to work. My graphic design skills weren't just for ads. I could edit, manipulate, create. I pulled the video into my software, sharpened it, looped the worst moments. The audio, too, cleaned it up, amplified their voices. Hours passed, my focus razor-sharp, until I had it. A 2-minute masterpiece of their deceit. Undeniable, devastating. But I wasn't done. Posting it raw felt small. I needed more. I logged into her work email. Her password was still our anniversary. The irony bitter, and found threads with Victor. Plans. Meetings that never happened. Lies layered on lies. Then, a name caught my eye, Sarah. Victor's assistant. A message from her to Elena. He's reckless. Be careful. Reckless how? I dug deeper, cross-referencing, until I hit a deleted email chain, restored with a recovery tool, where Sarah warned Elena. He's got debts. Big ones. Don't get dragged in. Debts? Victor? A knock at the door jolted me. I minimized everything, heart-hammering, and opened it. A woman, short, nervous, glasses slipping down her nose. You're Elena's husband? She asked. I nodded, wary. I'm Sarah, she said, voice shaking. I sent the drive. We need to talk. My jaw dropped. Before I could respond, she thrust a manila envelope at me. He's not just cheating, she whispered. He's dangerous. And she's in too deep. She turned, fled down the steps, leaving me with the envelope, thick, heavy, trembling in my hands. I shut the door, locked it, tore the envelope open. Photos spilled out, Victor with men I didn't recognize, shady alleyways, stacks of cash. Documents followed. Bank statements, loan shark threats, a ledger with Elena's name tied to transactions I couldn't decipher. My head spun. This wasn't just an affair. It was a web, a dark, tangled mess, and my wife was caught in it. The flame of revenge flickered, then steadied. This wasn't about heartbreak anymore. It was about justice. Cold, cruel, and absolute. The photos and papers lay scattered across my desk like a crime scene, Victor's smug face staring up at me from grainy snapshots, Elena's name scrawled in black ink on a ledger that screamed trouble. My hand shook as I sifted through it all, The weight of Sarah's words, "he's dangerous," sinking in. This wasn't just betrayal anymore. It was something bigger, uglier, a beast with teeth I hadn't seen coming. My wife wasn't just cheating, she was tangled in Victor's mess, complicit, maybe trapped. But did that change anything? No. The hurt still burned, raw and relentless, and that flame of revenge? It roared now, steady, unyielding. I shoved the envelope's contents into a drawer, locked it, and leaned back in my chair, staring at the ceiling. My mind churned options, angles, outcomes. Posting the video and audio online, like I'd first planned, felt too simple now. A public shaming would sting, sure. But Victor? He'd slime his way out, spin some story, drag Elena down with him. And her God. Even now, part of me wanted to protect her, shield her from whatever this was. Foolish. She'd made her choice. I clenched my fists, the sting of my own bloodied palms grounding me. No mercy. Not anymore. The doorbell rang again, sharp, insistent. I froze. Elena wasn't due back for hours, unless she'd forgotten something, unless she suspected. I crept downstairs, Boomer growling low at my side, and peered through the peephole. Not her. A man, tall, broad, face shadowed under a hood. My pulse spiked. I cracked the door, chain still on. "Yeah," I said, voice tight. He didn't smile, just held up a phone, my number glowing on the screen. The unknown texter. "We need to talk," he said, voice gravelly. "About Victor." 5 minutes. Outside. I hesitated. Every instinct screamed trap, but Sarah's warning echoed. Dangerous, and this guy might know more. I grabbed a kitchen knife, slipped it into my jacket, and stepped onto the porch, locking Boomer inside. The man leaned against a beat-up sedan, arms crossed. "Who are you?" I demanded. He smirked, faint, bitter. "Call me Ray. Used to work for Victor. Sarah's my sister." My jaw tightened. "Why help me?" He lit a cigarette, exhaled slow. "He screwed me over. Owes me money. Figured you'd want in on payback." Payback. The word hung heavy, electric. "What's he into?" I asked, glancing at the envelope tucked under my arm. I'd brought it, just in case. Ray's eyes flicked to it, then back to me. "Debt. Gambling. Loan sharks. He's drowning. Uses the firm to launder cash. Cooks the books. Your wife's his front." My stomach twisted. Elena a pawn? Or willing? "Proof," I said, holding up the envelope. He nodded. "That's a start. But I've got more, recordings, names. Enough to bury him. I should have walked away, called the cops, let them untangle it. But that flame, God, it burned hotter now. "What's your plan?" I asked. Ray flicked his cigarette to the ground, crushed it under his boot. "Expose him. Ruin him. But smart. Legal channels take too long, and he's slippery. We hit him where it hurts. Money, reputation, freedom." He paused, eyeing me. "You in?" I didn't hesitate. "Yeah, I'm in." Back inside, I paced, mind racing. Ray had left me with a burner phone, safer, he'd said, and a promise to send coordinates for a meetup. I reopened the drawer, spread the evidence out again. Bank statements showed transfers, thousands, funneled through dummy accounts, some in Elena's name. The photos, Victor with rough-looking men, one handing over a duffel bag. The ledger tied it together, dates, amounts, coded nicknames. I cross-checked it with her work calendar, synced to my laptop. Meetings lined up perfectly with the transactions. She wasn't just sleeping with him. She was his accomplice. The burner buzzed, coordinates, a time, midnight, an abandoned lot downtown. I had hours to kill, and that's when it hit me. Leverage. I grabbed my camera, a high-end DSLR from my design days, set it up in the living room, hidden behind books. If Elena came home acting normal, I'd have her on tape, lying to my face. More ammo. Then I dug into Victor's online footprint, ex-posts, LinkedIn, news clips. Polished, arrogant, a mask of success. I saved it all, building a profile to dismantle. She walked in at 7 p.m., all smiles. "Hey, babe," she chirped, kicking off her heels. The camera rolled, silent, unseen. "Long day?" I asked, voice flat, testing. She nodded, oblivious. "Exhausting. Victor's pushing this campaign hard." "Lies." I smiled, thin, cold. "Sounds tough." "Hungry." She waved me off, headed upstairs. Shower first. I watched her go, the woman I'd loved, now a stranger I'd destroy. Midnight came fast. I drove to the lot, headlights off, the burner my only lifeline. Ray was there, with Sarah, nervous, clutching a laptop. "Glad you came," she said, voice shaky. Ray cut in, "Here's the deal. Victor's meeting his lender tomorrow, cash drop. We record it, leak it, tip the feds anonymously. He's done." Sarah opened the laptop, files, audio, a video of Victor bragging about cleaning money through the firm. "Elena's on here," she warned, glancing at me. I nodded, jaw tight. "Good." Then, a curveball. Sarah hesitated. "Then, there's something else. She's pregnant." My world tilted. "What?" I croaked. She showed me a deleted email, Elena to Victor. "It's yours. What do we do? Dated a week ago." My knees buckled, but I caught myself. "Pregnant." His. The flame exploded. Rage, grief, a hurricane inside me. "Doesn't change a thing," I lied, voice steel. Ray clapped my shoulder. "Tomorrow, then. We end this." I drove home, the night blurring past. Elena slept upstairs, peaceful, oblivious. I stood over her, watching her breathe, the knife still in my jacket pocket. Not for her, never her, but a reminder of the edge I walked. Tomorrow, I'd unleash it all. The video, the evidence, the truth. Cruel? Yes. Cold? Absolutely. But they'd built this hell. I'd just light the match. The morning sun bled through the curtains, weak and gray. As I sat at the kitchen table, coffee untouched. Elena bustled around, oblivious, humming, like nothing was wrong. Pregnant. The word clawed at me, a fresh wound atop the festering pile. I watched her pour orange juice, her hand steady, no sign of the chaos she'd sown. "Big day today?" I asked, masking the tremor in my voice. She smiled. God, that smile, once my anchor, now a dagger. "Yeah, Victor's unveiling the campaign. Huge deal. Huge deal. Right." I nodded, sipping the cold coffee, tasting nothing. Ray's plan pulsed in my mind. The cash drop, tonight, a warehouse on the edge of town. Sarah's evidence, videos, audio, financial trails, sat on the burner phone, ready to deploy. I'd added my own touch, the edited video of Elena and Victor, synced with her lies from last night's footage. A double-edged blade. The feds would get it all, anonymous, untraceable. But first, I needed her out of the house. "I'm working late," I lied, standing. "Client deadline." She kissed my cheek, soft, fleeting, and I fought the urge to recoil. "See you tonight," she said. Not if I could help it. The day crawled. I met Ray and Sarah at a diner, different one, safer, mid-afternoon. Sarah's hand shook as she handed me a tiny camera. "Pin it to your jacket," she said. "We'll stream it live to my laptop, back up everything." Ray grunted approval, sliding me a map, warehouse circled in red. "He'll be there. 9 p.m. 2 goons, maybe 3. Stay sharp." I nodded, the knife still in my pocket, a silent vow. At 8:45, I parked a block away, shadows swallowing my car. The warehouse loomed, rusted, hulking, a skeleton of industry. I pinned the camera, tested the feed. Sarah texted, "Got it," and crept closer, heart hammering. Voices leaked through a cracked window, Victor's, smug, barking orders. I peered in him, 2 men, a duffel bag stuffed with cash. A third figure emerged, tall, scarred, the lender. Perfect. The camera rolled, capturing every word, every move. My phone buzzed. "Ray, feds tipped?" "Hold tight." I exhaled, steadying myself. Almost there. Then chaos. A car screeched up, black SUV, tinted windows. Victor tensed, hand darting to his waist, gun, as the door opened. My breath caught. Elena. She stepped out, heels clicking, face pale but resolute. What was she doing here? The camera caught it all, her marching to Victor, voice sharp. "We're done. I'm out." He laughed, cold, cruel. "You don't walk away, sweetheart. You're in too deep." She slapped him hard, and the lender growled, "Enough." I froze, torn. She was leaving him? No? Pregnant, scared, defiant, she looked human again. My heart twisted, but the flame held firm. This changed nothing. The lender barked, "Pay up, or she's collateral." Victor smirked, tossing the bag. "Take it." Elena's eyes widened. She hadn't known the full stakes. I edged closer, camera steady, when a hand clamped my shoulder. I spun, knife out at Ray. "Easy," he whispered. "Cops are 5 minutes out. She's a bonus." Sirens wailed, faint but growing. Victor cursed, shoving Elena toward the SUV. She stumbled, caught herself. The lender bolted, goons scattering. I ducked low, filming Victor dragging her fighting back. Then, headlights. Cops swarmed, guns drawn. Freeze. Victor raised his hands, smirking still, but Elena broke free, running straight into an officer's grip. I exhaled, shaky. It was over. Almost. Back home, I watched it unfold online, ex-posts exploding, news vans outside the warehouse. Marketing exec caught in sting, Victor's face plastered everywhere, Elena's name buried in subtext. The burner buzzed, Sarah. Feds have it all. You're clear. I'd sent the package video, audio, ledger, via raise drop. Anonymous. Untouchable. But Elena, she was in custody, questioned, released on bail by dawn. Pregnant. Alone. The house felt hollow without her, Boomer whining at the door. She came home at noon, eyes red, defeated. You knew, she whispered, seeing me. I didn't deny it, just stared, cold. How long? I asked. She sank to the couch, voice breaking. Months. It started as flattery, then he pulled me in. The money, the lies, I couldn't stop. Pregnant, she confirmed, My chest ached, but I stood firm. You chose this. She sobbed, reaching for me. I stepped back. I'm sorry, she choked. Sorry didn't fix it. I posted it then, the video, her lies, their affair, on X, public, viral in hours. Cruel? Yes. Necessary? Absolutely. Comments flooded, shock, pity, rage. My phone rang, her parents, friends, begging me to stop. I didn't. Victor's empire crumbled, arrested, assets seized, the firm imploding. Elena's name dragged through it, collateral damage. I watched her pack a bag, leave, no words, just silence. The flame flickered, satisfied. Days blurred. The story dominated headlines, scandal rocked city, but I felt empty. Ray called, gruff. You did good. Debt squared. Sarah sent a text. Thanks. Stay safe. I sold the house, too many ghosts, and moved, Boomer at my side. Victor's trial loomed, Elena a witness, her life unraveling. I didn't watch, didn't care. The flame had burned out, leaving ash. Then, a letter, no return address. Her handwriting. I never deserved you. I'm keeping it, but mine. Goodbye. A sonogram slipped out, tiny, blurred, alive. My throat tightened. Revenge had won, but at what cost? I tore it up, scattered it in the wind. Boomer nudged me, whining. Yeah, bud, I said, voice hoarse. Let's go. Months later, I stood on a cliff, ocean crashing below, new town, new start. The knife was gone, sold with the past. X had moved on, Victor jailed, Elena a memory. I'd won, but the victory was hollow justice, not peace. Boomer barked, chasing gulls, and I smiled, faint, real. The sun rose, warm, steady. Not perfect, not complete, but enough. I turned from the edge, walked forward, alone, but free.